I giggle every time men try to use me being single as an insult when clearly it's an active choice. I was raised in a super religious household, so I was all but groomed to be a wife. But even as a kid, I kind of knew that the traditional life that we were told we were supposed to have and want was not for me. I was a bit of a tomboy when I was growing up, or at least I wanted to be. Around 9, 10, 11 years old, I used to like to go outside, play basketball with the boys. I was outside with my dad and my brothers mowing the lawn. About 11, my mama pulled me in the house so I can cook and wash dishes and clean up. And when I think about the lifestyle that I imagined for myself as a kid, it wasn't the traditional lifestyle. It was me having my own place, decorated beautifully, being able to go and come as I please, traveling the world, going to places that I never thought I would see. And by golly, I've created that for myself. Who want to be y'all wife? No, I remember the exact moment I had my epiphany on not really wanting to exert any extra energy in finding a good man. I grew up in a pretty loving household with both of my parents and my siblings. And for a long time, I thought that's how the average person's life was. But boy, did I learn differently. You see, I was expecting the men that I encountered around my age to have the same upbringing that like my brothers did. I quickly found out they didn't. I wasn't immediately willing to accept that. And it's both disappointing and liberating the moment you decide to accept something for what it is. I was expecting men my age to know things that there is no way they could have known. Most men never even receive their good man starter kit. How would they know? It's always interesting to me when men get offended when women express that they really only want to deal with a certain caliber of man. And that can mean anything. That doesn't even necessarily have to mean they have to make six figures. But what if we required men to be in active therapy, to deconstruct the toxicity of the patriarchy, to be emotionally intelligent, to learn that it's okay to learn how to communicate properly? Because what a lot of men do that I notice is in a conversation with a woman, they'll say, well, I've always been told that big boys don't cry. But if we can take the time to deconstruct our trauma and deconstruct negative brainwashing that we've done, you can do it too. And it's not my responsibility to force you to do it. And you won't manipulate me into letting you do whatever you want by feeling sorry for you. Do the work. It's always interesting watching men get in like an overly emotional state when all logic and reason go out the window. And it's so funny because as like black women and black men, yes, a lot of us have been taught to hide your emotions and to suppress them. And if I can take the time to learn how to communicate properly, if I can take the time to learn how to express myself, which is something that doesn't come naturally to me because it wasn't allowed in my household growing up, then you can do it too. And I'm not gonna be bullied into having an interaction with someone who's not emotionally intelligent enough to recognize their own behaviors and course correct. I'm also not going to apologize for my standards. And if men are so logical, why don't they understand the logic behind women choosing to be single rather than to lower their quality of life to be with them? See, this is a good example of how men are often the residents of overly emotional states that they claim women are in. You will never find me in male comment sections, male content creator comment sections, trying to defend women, mostly because I don't give a fuck about what men think, but also because it's not a safe space for me. I make anti-patriarchy content, so this won't be a safe space for the average man either, who's not actually trying to learn something. And I know you think because I'm black that I'm talking to black men, but a good chunk of my following is non-black women. I talk to all women about all men. Now, I also know that y'all tend to think that y'all are the center of black women's universes, but you're not, sweetie. There are plenty of women who's interested in having discourse with the male species. I, however, am not she. I don't know why people act like it's so difficult to vet men. But then that's my problem. I'm very good at vetting men. Maybe because I'm a Virgo and I'm super analytical, but I have a sixth sense when it comes to predicting behaviors. And I'm very good at establishing patterns and picking up on people's patterns very quickly. And honestly, this would work in reverse too with men vetting women because we all have patterns. And I start paying attention and noticing people's patterns from the moment we start texting or talking. And the first thing you have to do is actually listen to what people say. And remember, because a lot of us, especially when we're meeting somebody new, we honestly get caught up in our own fabricated storylines and we miss all the red flags. I'm going to make more long form content on a different platform. Remember what people tell you and spot patterns.
It's not even giving what y'all said it was supposed to give. No, I wasted my money.
About how compatibility can be a trap. The second thing is compatibility is season based. It is possible for you to be compatible with the season of their struggle, but not the season of their success. I want somebody who's going to be there for me if I hit rock bottom. Well, what if they can only handle your rock bottom, but they can't handle your upward season? So now the question becomes, are we really compatible? Or do we just share similar dysfunction? We're both broken in the same area. We're both wounded over the same things.
This shit is not profound. See, when you listen to people speak through your dark feminine or dark wisdom, you can pull back all that fluffy shit and hear what they're really saying. Because this man, I don't know if he's a pastor. I don't know who he is. It showed up on my For You page. But this man essentially just told somebody in people, I don't know who he's talking to, but he just told people to use other people as a come up person. I don't think men need any help using women for a come up. Oh, you may be compatible in your struggle season, but not in your come up season. None of that shit he said was profound. He gave no life skills. He just made a blanket fucking statement and gave nobody real skills they would need to actually determine if someone is with them at an appropriate time or if it's time to let them go. He gave no knowledge or insight into how to actually make that kind of judgment. Because what he gave people permission to do was to struggle with somebody. When you feel like you're better than them, then get up and leave. This happened to women all the time. What makes somebody no longer compatible with you? Are they still where they started, not moving ahead? Because if people want to talk about, let's grow together, let's build together until it's time for you to level up by yourself, how do you make that determination? Because if y'all both growing, especially at the same rate, then what would be the problem? Now, it's different if the person you are growing with, you're the only person growing and they're staying the same. If they're jealous of you, they're displaying behaviors of not being supportive or being too supportive because they want to leech off of you. That's different. So it always blows my mind when people get online and say shit they think is profound. And then people in the comment sections be eating this shit up. And I'm just like, y'all not hearing what I'm hearing, right? There's no way we are hearing the same thing. And then when these Bible, you can't listen to people that use the Bible because the Bible is misogynistic. I'm going to tell y'all the moment I realized men could not be trusted. I was probably 15 or 16 years old, and I used to go to the same church as one of my close friends, and we were the same age. She had uncles that were close to our age, that were young. They were older than us, but they were still relatively young, but definitely grown. Well, I could see how her uncles would be so protective of her, especially when their friends would try to flirt or hit on her. I kind of expected them to have that same energy towards me. We were the same age and everything. But no, not only did they not do anything, they encouraged that shit. So I learned very early that men can't be trusted and that you can't look to men to keep a certain energy. That's why I don't like when women talk about how good their relatives are, because bullshit. They're good to you. That don't mean they're good to women that's not related to them. Want to know what the most difficult part about being a black woman is? It's not just systemic racism. It's not being simultaneously the beauty standard while being told you're not the beauty standard. It's not only the feeling of having to wonder if the men of your own race even likes you, or them totally throwing you under the bus for sport to take the target off of them. It's not dealing with microaggressions at work constantly. It's not worrying about being a fetish. It's not people using your energy constantly for a come up. It's not being told you're angry and unreasonable every time you open your mouth. It's not making 64 cents on the dollar while still managing to be very, very successful and the most educated. It's not being a woman. It's not people constantly stealing from you. If you're from the South, you may have heard the phrase, people eat every part of the pig except the oink. Well, that's what it's like being a black woman. Those things as individuals aren't necessarily the problem. Most of them, most people experience. They just don't have to experience them all at once. God forbid a black woman says, fuck this shit. I'm not playing the game anymore. I'm no longer looking to be empowered. I'm doing whatever the fuck I want, and there's not a fucking thing you can do about it. That's the worst part. They need us to be the cog in the machine, because we are the fucking machine. We're the batteries. We're the frame. We're the people that run the machine. We are the fucking machine. And as soon as we say, since y'all won't thank us, I'm not running, it's a problem. And I think the worst part for most of us is not having a true place to lay our heads. Nowhere is comfortable. Let's continue, shall we? Because you know these motherfuckers is going to give us so much material to work with. It's not being gaslighted. It's not being told that you are simultaneously being a victim and a villain at the same time. It's not feeling all the love in the world as long as you don't complain about them. People love you when you are up in arms for their cause, but the minute you tell them about what they're doing that's affecting you, you're the troublemaker. Well, bitch, I'm here to make trouble.
I literally told you chitterling eating bitches. The girls that get it, and the girls that don't. Obviously you don't get it because you're not that girl. Got it?
And they in the comments thinking they did something too. There are many women in this comment section, various comment sections, that's literally expressing the personal experiences of being told that by black men that they don't like black women in various ways since being little girls. This is what I really want you ladies to understand. This is why your dark feminine needs to be at play most of the time, in my opinion. These men don't care. They didn't come to understand. They didn't care to learn anything or to hear your experiences. They came to shut you up. They came to try to manipulate you, invalidate your experience, and gaslight you. His response to a woman saying her experience is, would they send it in general? Like a fucking idiot. So what we don't do as dark feminine women is explain ourselves. I'm not giving you any fucking receipts. I'm not tagging you in not one motherfucking video. You can stay stupid. Your denial of something doesn't make it not true.